State lawmakers want more money for roads, but where will it come from? We'll tell you one local legislator's idea, plus Jasper Mayor Terry Seitz is this week's guest for Monday with the Mayor, and Jasper Library Director Christine Golden is tonight's guest on Informed. All of that and much more is up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. We lead off tonight with yet another tragedy. A DuBois area man is presumed dead after a fire on his property north of DuBois that burned for more than 12 hours, destroying 4 buildings. Just after 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon, firefighters with the DuBois Volunteer Fire Department were called to the Mike Bauer residence in the 9700 block of North 400 East after a member of Bauer's family called to report the fire. When they arrived, DuBois Fire Department spokesman Zach Eichmiller says the house and the 3 barn-like structures were fully engulfed in flames. They also learned that Bauer was nowhere to be found, though all of his vehicles and tractors used on his farm were accounted for. Personnel on scene began searching the area where Bauer's bedroom was believed to be as other members of his family began making phone calls to try and find him. During their search, authorities found human remains that could not be identified. DuBois County Coroner Bob Beach says the remains were not a full body due to the fire being as hot as it was and how long the body had burned before it was found. Eichmiller says Bauer is presumed dead since he has not yet come forward. Meanwhile, Eichmiller says the fire probably started sometime between 1 and 3 o'clock on Saturday morning. He says the fire likely started in the home and wind spread the flames to the other buildings. Eichmiller says the fire burned for so long since the home is in a very remote location, thus making it hard for anyone to have seen it. The cause is still undetermined. The DuBois Fire Department responded with 4 trucks and 30 men. They were on scene for about 4.5 hours Saturday afternoon and evening. DuBois County Sheriff's deputies and DuBois County EMS also assisted. The autopsy reports for 3 people who were killed in a Jasper apartment fire back in November have now been released. In those reports, DuBois County Coroner Bob Beach says the deaths of 20-year-old Alex Snedeker, 20-year-old Lindsay Parsley, and a 3-year-old Robert Parsley back on November 26th were accidental. The cause of death for all 3 is listed as asphyxia due to inhalation of soot, superheated air, and carbon monoxide. Now, the autopsy also contained other findings. Veach reported that Snedeker and Parsley had levels of methamphetamine and THC in their bodies. Lindsay Parsley was additionally found to have amphetamines and benzodiazepines in her system. Robert Parsley's autopsy turned up levels of methamphetamine as well. Now, the fire broke out at 4:45 in the morning back on November 26th. Jasper Fire Chief Kenny Hoaksong says the upstairs apartment where the 3 lived was fully engulfed in flames when fire crews arrived on the scene. He says emergency personnel tried to get into the upstairs apartment only to be pushed back by heat and flames. Hoaksong says the fire started in a clogged dryer vent in the apartment. He says batteries were removed from a downstairs smoke detector and upstairs smoke detectors did not appear to be working at the time of the fire. In other headlines, DuBois County Sheriff's deputies were kept busy with a pair of accidents over the weekend where the driver wound up trapped inside their vehicle. First, a Jasper man went to jail on OWI charges following a crash in northeastern DuBois County early on Saturday. Just after 2:25 Saturday morning, DuBois County Sheriff's deputies went to the 7700 block of State Road 56 just west of Cuzco Road West. Deputies say 39-year-old Travis Lawyer of Jasper had been going westbound on State Road 56. Lawyer told deputies he swerved to avoid an eastbound vehicle that was in his lane and went off of the north side of the roadway into a ditch. Lawyer was trapped inside of his truck after the crash and had to be taken out by DuBois volunteer firefighters. After being pulled from the truck, deputies found that Lawyer had been drinking and had possibly suffered a head injury. Lawyer was taken to Memorial Hospital for treatment, and a blood draw found his BAC to be 0.17%, or more than twice the legal limit. After being medically cleared, Lawyer was taken into custody and booked into the DuBois County Security Center. He faces a Class A misdemeanor for operating while intoxicated. State Road 56 was down to 1 lane of traffic for just under an hour while crews cleaned up the accident scene. Memorial 270 and a wrecker from Ubalors also assisted. Then yesterday, a Huntingburg man was taken to an Evansville hospital with serious injuries after an accident on an icy stretch of State Road 64. 8:45 yesterday morning, DuBois County Sheriff's deputies went to State Road 64 just west of the Brettsville Junction. Deputies say 84-year-old Kimmel McKim had been going east on State Road 64 approaching the Brettsville Junction when he lost control of his truck on the icy road. The truck then slid off of the south side of the highway and down a steep embankment, hitting a tree before coming to rest. Deputies say McKim was also trapped inside of his vehicle and had to be extricated by St. Anthony first responders. McKim complained of left shoulder and chest pain and reported possible broken ribs and a right foot injury. He was taken to Memorial Hospital in Jasper for treatment and was later taken to St. Mary's Hospital in Evansville. State Road 64 was closed for about an hour yesterday morning. Memorial Hospital EMS and Cars Wrecker Service also assisted. With continued concerns at the state level about funding for infrastructure, one area state senator says tweaks to the fuel taxing system may be the answer. District 48 State Senator Mark Messmer says state lawmakers need to continue looking at ways to adjust the state's fuel excise tax. He says there also could be provisions made to get more revenue out of those who drive alternative fuel vehicles. Messmer says that could involve creating a provision that would require alternative vehicle users to pay into the system. Now, the state has already imposed a gasoline usage tax. That tax, which took effect on July 1st of last year, replaced the prepaid sales tax on gasoline that had previously been collected from retail merchants. The new tax is a rolling tax and is calculated by taking the statewide average price per gallon and multiplying it by 7%. The Indiana Department of Revenue reported that in July of last year, the gas tax came out to roughly 23 cents a gallon. The gas sales tax had been at 19 cents a gallon prior to the formula change. Messmer says finding solutions will take up the bulk of this year's legislative session. He says though changes are needed, any sweeping change is unlikely.
As a state, it's really difficult to do anything on a per mile basis because when you have vehicles that cross state lines and fuel that's bought in other states and consumers from other states that come here to buy fuel, it would be difficult to do anything like that on an individual state basis without it being a nationwide program that that everybody uses. So I don't see that happening anytime in the near future.
Hoosiers are currently paying an average of $1.97 a gallon according to GasBuddy.com. That equates to a tax rate of just under 14 cents a gallon. Finally tonight, our congratulations goes out to the Jasper High School cheerleaders. The group won the 2015 National Championship at this past weekend's Jam Fest Cheer Super Nationals. The event was held in Indianapolis. The JHS cheerleaders took home top honors in the Advanced Varsity Cheer class at Jam Session 1. Silver Creek High School came home in second, followed by Golden Girl Cheer out of Oak Lawn, Illinois, who came home in third. All right, coming up after the break, Terry Seitz is back for Monday with the Mayor, plus your local forecast, sports with Kurt Guxell, and Inform with Christine Golden. That's all up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Local people watching local people.